This clip is brought to you by SaveWithConrad.com.
You notice the difference right off the bat when Dusty Rhodes, who was unable to defend this title, had it in his possession. Was he out here week in, week out? Was he out here wrestling a man the caliber of the junior heavyweight champion of the world? I ask you, David Crockett, almighty worshiper of the American dream. Was Dusty Rhodes out here week in and week out against some of the best competition in our state? David, you're lying in your teeth. You know it. You know what I'm telling you to be true. Arn Anderson has taken this title and made it exactly what it is today. In my eyes, the second most prestigious title in all of professional wrestling.
Well, you heard it from the world heavyweight champion. I have to say right now, he's got a tiger by the tail, and Denny Brown, the junior heavyweight champion, the world junior heavyweight champion. Watch this man.
He's wrestling a guy that's traveled throughout the world, just like I do, defending a very prestigious title. We're talking about the junior strap.
That's
it's
correct.
A very prestigious position to have in our sport. He's a little smaller than Arn, but let me tell you, the guy was a great amateur wrestler, he's a great professional wrestler, and he represents the National Wrestling Alliance, which makes him one hell of a man for opening.
So I'm not going to track the whole thing, but Flair's joining for commentary. And this is actually a long match, especially for this type of show. 12 minutes and 43 seconds, I think, the runtime. But I like the idea of bringing Flair out, letting him do a little commentary. I mean, we would see this years later in the Monday Night War era where but it would typically be like a guy who had a feud with them, right?
Right.
So you have whoever, okay, these guys are going to be in a feud, so we'll have one guy wrestle and the guy he's beefing with will do commentary.
Yeah.
Well, in this case, we've got, stablemates, so to speak. But one of the criticisms we're talking a lot about belts today, but one of the criticisms of Jim Crockett from fans in this era was, there's too many belts. You had tag titles, you had U.S. tag titles, you had a national belt, you had a Western States belt, you had a Central States belt, you had a junior belt, you had the TV, the U.S., the world, and on and on. Was it too many belts?
Yeah, I think so, but not enough to bitch about.
Right.
The Western States title was kind of thrown in there at the end.
Yeah.
The Central States title was from the Bob Geigel. I guess they picked it up when they bought Kansas City, because they did buy Kansas City, I think, that promotion. So that was Bob Geigel's Mid-Atlantic Championship, right? The Central States Championship. So that's how that was. But yeah, probably so. I mean, but again, Jimmy inherited belts. He inherited the National Heavyweight Championship because that was the Georgia Championship. That was the Georgia U.S. Championship. And he inherited the Central States Championship. Denny Brown and this World Junior Heavyweight Championship was kind of an oddity because we didn't really talk about it that much unless he wrestled.
Right.
Well, I mean, I can't remember a time, and I'm probably wrong, where Denny Brown actually defended the Junior Heavyweight Championship on television. And I'm surprised to see that he had the belt here, because there's a lot of times he didn't have the belt. So the Junior Heavyweight Championship, was that a product of the Florida territory? Because we never had it in the Mid-Atlantic territory that I remember.
Believe it or not, it goes back to the 40s, if you can believe that. It started in Iowa, Oklahoma, Tennessee. It was all over the place. But guys like Danny Hodge had it. Ted's dad, Mike DiBiase had it. Sputnik Monroe had it. Ken Mantell had it. Hiro Matsuda had it down in Florida. But then Nelson Royal most famously had it.
Right.
And I think he's even got it framed up in his shop in Mooresville. Actually, I know it is. I've seen it there.
Well, the Nelson Royal that I worked with, which we have seen on our companion show, Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling, over and over again, never had that belt with him. We always referred to him as the former World Junior Heavyweight Champion. So I never remember him with the belt.
Years later, Terry Taylor would even hold that belt, and Gerald Briscoe, Tiger Mask.
Wow.
I mean, so some pretty big names along the way held it.
Right.
But here, when Denny Brown has it, he's going to drop it to Mr. Electricity, Steve Regal, and then back to Denny Brown, and then your boy Lasertron.
Oh man, Lasertron. Lasertron is great. 605 history. It is. I mean, look, you remember that name, don't you?
Oh, of course.
Of course. So there's a place in history for Lasertron only because it comes to mind. When you think of Lasertron, you think of this show.
It doesn't mean that it was great. It just means you remember, oh, they're chucking a commercial break in the middle of a match.
Yeah, how about that?
Something you don't see very often.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you see it all the time on TV now, but let's step in and listen a little bit, see if Flair's still going off about something.
Has him down. The world heavyweight champion Ric Flair looks on, and he is concerned because his cousin, Arn Anderson, is at a disadvantage.
Flair at ringside stirring up the fans.
Mm-hmm. And also, by walking to ringside, he kind of puts Denny Brown over.
Yeah, like, hey, this might be tighter than we thought.
Right.
Yeah, I want to mention, too, we got a lot of great feedback so far as we're covering 1986 from people who said, you know what? I was all wrong about David Crockett. He was great.
Yeah, of course he was.
I think he's gotten a bad rap from fans, but because here's the thing. They're probably unfairly comparing him to Tony Schiavone or to Jim Ross, but his role was different. He was the hype man, and he did a great job at his job. When you actually take him out of the context of being a play-by-play guy, and just understand what his role was, he was really good at it.
He was tremendous. There's another name in there that is the reason that that fans didn't like him, and that is Gordon Soley. And let me tell you why. Because I lived this one. When Vince took over that slot, he took it over from Gordon, right? Gordon was doing it. So when we came back and they brought that same old music in, because that music was before us. But
there's no Gordon.
That's right. And the camera comes up, it's David and I standing there. There's no Gordon Soley. And fans didn't like that. And they didn't like me. There's a lot of fans that didn't like me being there. And I didn't answer a lot of letters. I typed them up with my old typewriter there at the office, electronic typewriter. I answered as many as I could. We had a lot of them. And I remember a lot of those questions says, well, Tony Schiavone is obviously a very polished broadcaster, but that David Crockett, where's Gordon Soley? Basically. So that's one of the reasons that David was disliked back then, because he wasn't, quote unquote, a polished announcer. He wasn't an announcer by trade. I was. That's what I grew up. That's what I worked on, to be an announcer. But man, we weren't Gordon Soley, and that was trouble.
Yeah.
So, but it all worked out. Hell, I even had a girl send a long letter to me about looking like a fool because of makeup on my face. Like Gordon Soley never wore that makeup. I was thinking, yeah, he did. Anybody? That's right. And I have a feeling that that Gordon was pissed off about this too. Don't you think? I mean, when they're back on and it's Gordon Soley, didn't he think that he would be doing the show?
Yeah, I'm sure he thought he would, but
yeah, so
they made a call differently. Do you think that had anything to do with was it just wanting their own look and feel and our own guy, or was there concerns about Gordon's substance situation?
There was both.
Okay.
There was both. I know Jimmy wanted a good look, but Jimmy wanted somebody he could depend on. Ole tells me the story of bringing Gordon from Georgia into the Carolinas to do a show. And he didn't, I don't recall what show it was, but Ole and I, we rode around a lot together, different shows in the early 90s when he was booking. And he told the story that Jimmy said, I want you to bring him. I want him to ride with you. So I want to make sure he's sober when he gets there.
Yeah.
And he said, Ole said, we stopped to get something to eat. Gordon went to the bathroom. He came back. He was plowed.
Yeah. And
he said he had little airline bottles with him and he had them in his pocket. He said, so I was watching him, but I didn't go to the bathroom with him. So, So anyway, I guess Jimmy thought that he couldn't depend on Gordon, to be again.
Was Gordon's go-to vodka or gin?
For some reason, I think it was vodka. I don't know.
I know Hurd was a gin guy, but I wasn't sure. But
yeah,
I feel like you get a certain age and you have an appreciation for gin. Unless you're Snoop Dogg, there's not like a bunch of 25-year-olds who drink gin. The folks I know who drink gin, they're old malcontents like you,
Yeah, I don't drink gin. Because
right. I'm not saying you do.
It tastes like aftershave smells. It's just a rot gut. I've tried martinis with gin. Have you ever tried that?
No, it's not for me. I don't like
Ooh, wow.
I used to date a girl who liked gin. She was at Bombay and Sapphire. 2 limes.
Right. Yeah, not me, man. That's rot gut shit. Where did we get here? Oh, we got here because of you shitting on me.
Yeah, we're talking about gin and tonics and
and we've got like you said, we got a hell of a match going on here, man. Denny was a good performer.
He's giving him a lot, really.
Yeah. Yeah. Wouldn't you think you'd have to? The junior heavyweight
look at there. Dusty's out here.
Yeah.
And Ric Flair comes over here.
That's just a classic example of why Arn Anderson is a world champion. He knows where he is in that ring at all times. He got himself in a bit of a predicament, but got Denny Brown out of the ring just like that. That's what you call ring savvy, my friend. That's what you call knowing your trade.
Look at Denny. He comes right back. He goes over. Has him just about. Catches it right on top of the head.
Crockett was good, man.
He was good. He was damn good. Boy, if you don't believe, you just, it's when you have commentary from the 80s that 35 years later plays well, you're doing something right.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So he was doing something right, man. He's a lot of fun.
Yeah. How can you not be a fan of David Crockett? And look at the fans, man. They are into Denny Brown.
Yeah, they're apparently if you notice green shirts and some Greek letters. I guess it's some fraternity or something, maybe from Georgia Tech. That's come. Oh man,
The pin almost. Denny Brown is
great athletes competing at the highest level possible. This is professional wrestling.
That it is.
There you go, gourd buster him. Bam.
Gourd buster put the face right in the mat. The Gourd Buster puts out Denny Brown and Arn Anderson wins. Wait a minute, Dusty Rhodes comes in. What a battle. Wait a minute, look at this. Dusty Rhodes, Magnum TA, Ric Flair, Arn Anderson. Do we have it? Do we have another match? Rick, do we have another match? Come on, they want you in there.
David, let me say something to you. It's just like Rhodes and Magnum TA to want a man to slip out of about $15,000 worth of goods and get in the ring, and then want a man that's just competed against a world champion and beat him right in the middle of the ring. Anytime I'm in the building or my cousin Ric Flair's in the building, it just makes me want to show out a little bit. He always told me, he said, I've been a champion all my life. If you want to run with me, if you want to uphold the family name, it's real simple. All you got to do is beat the cream of the crop in the middle where there's no argument, no belly aching, and become a world champion. And Tony Schiavone, I've done like I said I would. Week after week, I did exactly what Dusty Rhodes wouldn't do. Come on national television and defend it in front of top competitors in the world today. So I don't want to hear any garbage out of you, or any of these goofs out here, because I've earned it. I am the world television champion. And in the words of my famous cousin, Ric Flair, whether you like it or not, there ain't nothing you can do about it. That includes you, Dusty Rhodes. Tony, it's got to be real difficult for anybody, any of our peers, so to speak, in the wrestling world, to stand before us when we're loaded with our armor. Both of these say the one thing: world champion. Both of us, world champion in our own right. Rick, we're going to be teamed up in that Jim Crockett Sr.
Rick, 1 minute. Go ahead, Tony.
Let's talk
Go ahead.
about some of the peers. One of your peers, obviously, Ron Garvin. And we'd like to take a look at a film clip right here. A match, you and Ron Garvin. 60-minute time limit draw.
Ron Garvin.
And you call Ron Garvin back into the ring. Here's what happens.
What are you trying to bring this on TV for? Huh? Where did you get this film?
This film provided, of course, Jim Crockett Promotions, Tommy Young, the referee.
More collusion, Tony Schiavone.
What a
lopsided commentation. As you see, where's Ronnie Garvin? Flat of his can, gasping Flair. Is Ric Flair, is his derby bulging? No, it's not. Is he breathing hard? No, it's not. Ronnie Garvin, I think I heard him say it once or twice. I quit. No fight. No intestinal fortitude, and the world champion is eating his lunch.
This is propaganda right here. I know exactly what they're doing.
Sure it is.
This is propaganda.
Well,
Hey, you keep your mouth shut, or
they're
you'll be out
going
of
at
the
it
studio,
toe
buddy.
to toe. Right there.
Tony Schiavone, just one question. Is a closed fist illegal or not? Yes or no? Yes or no?
Okay, it is.
That's
The
an
man
illegal
is
move.
down.
It's just like hitting the man in the
man
head with
got
a ball
knocked
pin
out.
hammer. It's illegal, David Crockett.
The world heavyweight champion, Ric Flair, you are knocked out by Ron
That's the
Garvin.
biggest fluke I've ever seen or ever heard of in my entire life. Couldn't happen again in a million years.
Okay, now, like we said, after the match was over,
Just keep your mouth
60-minute
shut.
draw, called him back to the ring, and that's what happened.
You know, it never ceases to amaze me. I'm standing out here with Arn Anderson, the world television champion. I'm standing out here so custom made that designer magazines all over the country are looking for me, and you never stop trying to insult me. Well, Garvin, that was after the 60 minutes was over, and that referee had no right counting 1, 2, 3. And the bottom line is, Garvin, if you keep messing around with me, the same thing's going to happen to you that happened to Dusty Rhodes, and you pass that along.
World champions, Arn Anderson.
Pass that along on a very serious note.
Arn Anderson, the world TV champion, and Ric Flair. David, we needed to show that.
That's right.
He was talking about his peers, and Ron Garvin, one of his peers, knocked him out. We'll be right back.
Dude, how great was that segment?
That was tremendous.
Dude, I
That
got chill bumps when they just did the square off.
Yeah.
You know, and Dusty and Magnum were in the shirt in the ring and pulled their shirts off.
Oh.
We're not done.
No, we're not.
Going. Tony's back.
The winner of that tag team tournament will receive, and we're very proud to announce this, the Jim Crockett Sr. Memorial Cup. Also, a purse of $1 million has been added to this one-night tournament, and we have some very special news about the tournament, David.
That's correct. Next week, we're going to tell you where the tournament will be. The site has already been chosen, but next week, they'll give us permission to tell you exactly where that tournament will be.
And as you know, bids have come in from all over the world, all over the country, hoping to be the home of this inaugural tournament. We're going to find out next week, let you fans know where the tournament will be held. Let's go to the ring.
In his interview, Jim Crockett told me that he had more support from the family for the Crockett Cup idea than any other idea he ever had. Because they all wanted to pay tribute to Dad.
Yeah, right. And we're going to watch that tournament. Are we going to watch the whole thing?
Of course, why not?
It's 4 hours.
We'll watch everything that's on the on the network.
Yeah, it's 4 hours long, but that's fine. We have a lot to talk about in that tournament. They brought Jim Sr.'s widow, Mrs. Crockett, out at the end of it to present the cup to the Road Warriors.
If it's possible, I would like for us to line up David Crockett to watch that one with us. I think that would be a fun occasion.
That'd be tremendous.
Have a few cocktails, look at the old Crockett Cup, get him to rat on you, tell some stories. He told us a story that will never die. One of mine and your first live shows there in Charlotte at the Comedy Zone. You and I will never forget that story as long as
the Johnny Valentine story.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll never forget that.
No, I know it because it's like, wow, there's really someone out there like that. And and he was in pro wrestling.
It's unbelievable. Like that story just came up this past weekend when Cassio and Judy came over. And Judy was like, what? Just slack jawed AF. So I'm looking forward to this year, man. I've had so much fun watching it. And I really did get like chill bumps watching, Dusty and Magnum come in, and then on the outside you see Flair start taking off his jacket, and the fans are going bananas.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at SaveWithConrad.com.